Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Just making sure. As you may remember from last week, I actually put my t-shirt on inside out and didn't notice for the whole first half of the video. So I'm just making sure I've not made the same mistake this week. It's Saturday, December the 2nd. I can't believe Christmas is a little bit over 3 weeks away. That is frightening. Where do I start? Number of views. Since I started posting the videos or sort of uploading them and scheduling them for 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, the number of views has shot through the roof. I was averaging about somewhere between 30 and 40. I'm now getting somewhere in the 80s. So I can't pretend to understand that one, whether it's a more convenient time for everybody to watch, I don't know, or whether it's YouTube doing its algorithm thing. I haven't got a clue, but I'm not complaining. Number of subscribers is still stuck at 124, but I'm not fussed about that bit. Right, something interesting happened this week. Well, it was interesting for me. A couple of days ago, I got a message. Now, Caroline, if you're watching this is mainly for you, because I think you will absolutely love this. We're big fans of what I'm about to talk about, and anybody else that's a big fan of what I'm about to talk about, it's aimed at you as well, but mainly Caroline, because I know you love this. I got a message, let me just put this drink down a sec, on Facebook Messenger. I'll read it out exactly as it came through. Hi Tony, I recently saw your review of my dad's book on YouTube and wondered if you would like a little more background on him as an author. If you're interested, let me know and I will send over an article I wrote about his work. I still didn't twig. The guy's name is Francis Braithwaite. You're going to get this, Caroline. You can see this coming. I know you can. I forgot to mention, this is concerning to Sir with Love. Francis Braithwaite is the son of E.R. Braithwaite, who wrote the original novel To Sir with Love, upon which the movie was based. He must have seen, obviously, the video I did. It was quite a while ago, where I reviewed the movie, and I did mention that it was based on a book from the 60s, possibly before, actually. I can't remember. And he must have seen that and thought, you know, I'm really chuffed with this. So he messaged me. Let's see, just bear with me. Let's see. Oh, some trivia. He sent me some trivia. Some trivia that you may be interested in for your viewers. Dad disliked the film as it strayed from some of the crucial discussions around mixed race relationships, as it was felt too sensitive to be part of the movie. Now, I've just started reading the book for the second time. I haven't read it for decades, but I've got the audio book, and I've listened to the first 2 chapters. And it is so far pretty faithful to the book, but I've got about another 4.5, probably 5 hours to go yet. So eventually I will bump into all of this stuff that Francis is talking about. Also, he had a very difficult relationship with Poitier, as the actor hijacked the title to try and relaunch his career into Sir with Love 2. I haven't seen this. Rob's seen it. He said it was all right, but nowhere near as good as the original. But I've never seen it and never really expressed any desire to watch it, because it just wouldn't be the same. So yeah, he tried to relaunch his career into Sir with Love 2, which he did not even discuss with Dad or seek permission to do. To Sir with Love 2 was not based on anything Dad had written and was a terrible movie. Dad was very pleased to hear that it tanked. It took many years for them to reconnect, but it was always a little strained. I hope you enjoyed the article. It was my first attempt at writing something about him. Let me know if you have any other questions. Hope that is helpful. That is brilliant. I was so pleased with that. As I say, as Caroline is, I'm a huge fan of the movie. I did read the book many years ago, loved it. Haven't read it for many years, which is why I'm sort of revisiting it now, thanks to that message. So Francis, if you're watching, he's joined the group as well, so welcome to the group, Francis. If you're watching, feel free to subscribe to the channels to the channel and knock my subscribers up to 125. Thank you so much for messaging me. I really do appreciate it. I'll be reading that article over the next few days, and I'll no doubt be talking about it on sort of next week's video or the week after, as soon as I've actually got it read. But Caroline, I just knew you would love that. So as I say, Francis, thank you so much for getting in touch with that. Really, really appreciated it. It really, really made my week, and that is true. So right, let's see. You've all been sending me pictures of you watching the videos as usual, as you normally do, but with a twist. You're now sending me pictures of you watching the videos and what you're eating while you're watching them. And I only have one word for pretty much everything that I'm about to describe to you, and that's ugh. Oh God. Oh dear. Mark, just for you, Tony, as I know you love it, cold leftover Bomb Boy Bad Boy pizza with a pot of chili sauce, with the Sports Direct Big Brew whilst watching Tony Time. Ugh. And it didn't stop there. Jason, and who the fuck has pizza left over? Man up. I will have a 14-inch pizza, the wife will have one slice and I'll demolish the rest. Bloody hell. I do recommend the pizzas at the Greyhound though, 2 for 18 quid on a Tuesday, big pizzas too. The wife cannot manage hers, so I finish hers off too. You're making yourself sound like a human waste disposal unit, Chase. My God. Mark, in my defence, I was on the beer last night, which bloats me up and I can't eat much. If I wasn't on the beer, there's a high chance it would have all gone. I would have preferred it to have all gone, actually. Please tell me that you did actually warm it up and you didn't eat it cold. Cold Chinese. Oh, Jesus, I can't even think about it. Chris, you decided to join in. Last night, Chinese for me. Please tell me you warmed it up. Guy, well done now. Oh, sorry, well done. Now, that's how you do Tony Time in style. You have raised the bar, sir. He hasn't raised the bar. None of you have. All you've raised is my gag reflex. I can't even begin to imagine what... No, definitely not. The only thing I have in the morning is porridge and coffee. That's all I can cope with. Just the thought of cold pizza or Chinese or kebabs or whatever the fuck you lot are eating at 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 or whenever you're watching the videos, it just doesn't bear thinking about. We do have a pizza, as you know, every Saturday, and there usually are 1 or maybe 2 slices left, but we do tend to get all the sides with it, sort of the chicken poppers, and they're just doing just started doing like garlic dough balls. They're absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, there are 1 or 2 slices of pizza left, and we did used to put them in the fridge and warm them up the next night, but it's like they're never the same. They're like cardboard. So we stopped doing it, and I think now the dog has them. So there's a slice left. The dog's sitting there waiting for it. So thank you all so much for making me privy to all of that. I dread to think what's coming next. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, great vid, Tony. Can't wait to hear what you think of Talk to Me when you get around to it. I am going to watch it. I am going to sort of make an effort and take a look at this, despite what I've heard about it. I'm fairly sure I should be able to get through it, just about. We shall see, but I will be taking it in, definitely. So I'll let you know when I do that. Regarding the MCU, they are somewhat hit and miss, but the best way to watch up to Spider-Man Far From Home, which is the final of Phase 3. I didn't realise there were phases. Is in chronological order, but that's a fair effort to get through. You ain't kidding. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Callie mentioned, that there was over 200 hours worth of stuff to get through. That's horrendous. I don't know. I'm still tempted to cherry pick. I'm working my way through the Spider-Man movies at the moment, and it is kind of reigniting my interest in the MCU. And I did have a look on Disney Plus last night, and they've pretty much got all of them. So I won't actually need to buy them. So at some point, I'll take a look at Thor and see how I get on with that one. That's as far as I got with it. But I will be powering through the Spider-Man films because I'm absolutely loving them. I'll give you my thoughts on those when I've actually watched. Well, I'll do a quick review of the Tobey Maguire ones probably next week, actually, because I'm watching Spider-Man 3 next Saturday. I did Spider-Man 2 last night. Really, really enjoyed it. And I actually can't wait to watch Spider-Man 3. Not sure how it's going to go down with the change of actors. Is it Andrew Garfield and then Tom Holland? I've heard they're very good, but I'm kind of used to Tobey Maguire now, so we'll see how we get on with that. What else have we got here, Jace? Christmas is coming. So yes, I will be watching some classic Christmas films on my channel. Oh, look forward to the reviews of those and which ones you're going to pick. As for which ones, you'll see. Look forward to that. As for what I have on my Christmas wish list, 3 Arrow box sets, Hellraiser 1, 2, 3 box set. I'd love to know what the Arrow box sets are. The Hellraiser Quartet of Torment, which I've been looking at actually on Amazon. I'm quite tempted by that one. And the Child's Play box set from Arrow. I think that's a future release for us, I'm not sure. But it would be a good set to have, definitely. I enjoyed the first one immensely. Second one was alright. Third one was the one that caused all the furore with the video nasties and stuff like that. I think it got entangled in the murder of a kid in the early 80s, and I think because of that, I think it was banned for quite a while. It did come back again. I don't really want to go into that one. Where are we now? Oh, and 2 bottles of booze to get me through Christmas period. It's the one thing I don't do. I don't drink anymore. I'll probably have plenty of chocolate and all sorts of other stuff in the house, but not probably not booze. Boring old git. I still have to watch Witchfinder General, but I will very soon. Same with Logan's Run. Just run out of time to watch everything. You get into the same problem as I get. I have got titles going around in my head constantly thinking, I must watch this, I must watch that. Oh, I promised I'd watch this, I must have a look at that. And if I were to write them down, the watch list would be just horrendously bloody long. I do need to get them in some sort of an order, but I do tend to pick on certain franchises and follow them through. So, which is what I'm doing with the Spider-Man ones. But random titles, sort of single films, there are hundreds going around in my head. Talk to Me is one of them. So yeah, you get the same problem as I do, mate. It's just finding the time to actually watch them all. So thanks for that, Jason. Much appreciate that. Steve Mack. And there's me actually changing shirts for every video I do. Really, Tony. It does get a wash every week. I don't wear this thing for a year without actually watching it. It gets a wash every week. And that is presumably where the putting it on inside out came from. I don't know. I should have checked that. CEX don't give much back, but I do 4K upgrades, so tend to have 20 odd Blu-rays every couple of months. Talk to Me is brutal in parts. You can't unsee it. That's the problem. That concerns me. I will still have a look at it, but if I get the feeling it's going to be one that I will watch once, and that will probably be it. So let's see. I've watched The Killer. That's on Netflix, isn't it? I like Fincher. Oh, David Fincher. Is it David Fincher, the director? And The Light You Cannot See. I was tempted by that one. I saw the trailer for that a few nights ago and thought that looks interesting. You can see both on Netflix. So yeah, I will be taking probably both of those in at some point. There's that watch list ever expanding again. Gareth, as soon as people start protesting a movie, it just makes people want to watch it. I can't remember what this was. Were we talking about a movie that was being banned or something? I can't remember, but it's true. It's very, very true. I remember back in the 80s when they were forever banning movies, and all it did was make people want to watch them even more. Even music was the same. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, relax. Wasn't doing anything special. It was sort of slowly climbing the charts. Certain parties banned it, and that was it. Shot to number 1 and stayed there for like 10 years. And every other song that they did after that hit the number 1 straight away, pretty much. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It does make people want to watch them even more, and I'm the same, absolutely the same. Lee Barber, BBC presenter, that's harsh. But then again, even lefty crazy BBC presenters don't have their polo shirt on inside out. Thanks for that, Lee. Yeah, I was saying that somebody had basically said that I sound like a BBC presenter when I open my videos with this "Good morning, welcome back to the channel," blah blah. So um, you put Miss Diane on another comment. I'm not sure what that means. Is that referring to a certain person that we work alongside? I don't know. And we're also talking about pairing up movies. Guy came up with an absolute corker. I have actually got a couple of suggestions for this myself, which I'll come back to in a bit. But I think Guy suggested Rocky Horror Picture Show, and said pair that up with something. And I struggled with it for ages, and I came up with exactly the same one as you did in the end. Little Shop of Horrors, possibly Shock Treatment, which was the actual sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So either one of those would, you could even do a triple bill of all three. So yeah, thanks for that one, Lee. Jason P. I can always rely on you to give me plenty to talk about. I thought I'd watch this before I go and fetch the grandkids. Saw the length of the video, maybe not. It was a long one last week, and that won't be every week, I promise you. It probably won't be this week. I, for one, I'm not complaining one bit. It gives me something to watch tonight while cozied up in bed. I love these epics. I love doing them, but unless I've got the material to talk about, the average I think is going to be sort of between half an hour and 45 minutes, or possibly an hour max. I did have a lot to get through last week, so that's why it was so damn long. Right, let's see if I can remember what you mentioned, as it's just gone midnight. I did fall asleep for 20 minutes and had to go back to where I remembered. It's been a long day trying to entertain two kids, and your voice soothed me. That's good to know. I've had this before. Maybe do a Tony Insomnia app for those having trouble sleeping. Anyway, great vid, mate. Thanks for that, Chase. You know, it is probably not a bad idea. A back rub and a bourbon. I think that's how somebody described my voice the other week. So you went on about Ninja air fryers, because I was still thinking of getting one. Defo worth it. We bought a bog standard one just to see what they were like, and then upgraded. We haven't used our oven for over 3 years. This is what I'm hearing an awful lot of, is that people just don't use the cookers anymore, just the hob. We have a halogen oven, slow cooker, and now an air fryer. That's all you need. I'm getting dangerously close to getting one. I think you said you got the Ninja, didn't you? Was it a Ninja? Can't remember. But that's probably the one that I'm going to go for, because I think a lot of people have got that one. I never watched Oppenheimer, spelt wrong again. I did stuff around the house while the wife watched it. I thought you actually watched that one. Predator 2 is set in the city, so not so good. This is why I'm put off it. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem right to have something like that set in the city. I presume it's New York. It usually is. But if I'm going to be doing the franchise at some point, I'm going to have to watch it. Predators is back in the jungle, so back on form. The Predator went a bit sci-fi, Star Wars weird, which was shit for me. I know you don't like your sci-fi, Jace. Is it the only genre of movie that you don't bother with? Have you ever watched a sci-fi film that you've actually enjoyed? You know, that you've watched and thought that this isn't me, and then you got to the end and thought, actually, that wasn't bad. And were you ever tempted to watch any more? 2 questions for you. I never noticed your T-shirt was inside out. Well, neither did I. I sat here in front of this thing and just bobbling away and never even thought about it. So no, I didn't notice either, mate. And we're talking about check sheets for streaming services. Just do the check sheet page for streaming for yourself, mate. I'm almost certainly going to do that, because I do need to make sure that I'm watching these things. And if I am paying sort of 4, 5, 6, 7 quid for each one, I do want to get my value for money out of them. So it's either sort of knock them on the head and get an Amazon dodgy stick, or actually start watching these things. And as you say, making notes of what I'm actually watching. Christmas wish list. Not a clue what the wife's got me. She did show me a brilliant Halloween Funko Pop that was only out in America. You're into these Funko Pop things, aren't you? She said she couldn't get it, but I hope she's fibbing. I screenshotted a couple of things, but there's only 2 Blu-rays I want. But I want to make sure they've got slip covers. Indy Jones and Mission Impossible 7. Oh, I've got about 7 or 8 on mine. We shall see. I'll do a video anyway of anything special or funny stories or any funny stories to tell. Looking forward to your next video, Jace. They're always an event, I'll give you that. Um, Also, Damned United is a very good movie, great British cast. I didn't enjoy Purely Belter at the time, so may take another look. I saw that one. I think it was one of the first movies I saw at the new Cineworld when it opened. So it would have been early 2000s, and I haven't seen it since. I just remember it starred lad with massive eyes. That's the thing I remember most about it. And it was something to do with nicking Alan Shearer's car, if I remember right. Not much of a plot point, but that's all I can remember about it. And you also put a story on about going to see Barbed Wire, the Pamela Anderson movie at Tamworth Cinema. I'd have thought you'd have been well into that. I actually went to the cinema to see this as my mate was a big Pamela Anderson fan. This is what a real friend was. To be fair, we should have been doing his dad's garden. It was too hot to work in the chocolate factory. Willy Wonka. So instead we buggered off to the cinema at Tamworth to watch a noon showing. So basically I was getting paid to watch a film and I had the ticket bought for me. As I said, I'm not paying for one as it looks shite. I was right, the film was shite, but we are still best mates even after the trauma of this movie. Is it really that bad? It always looks good fun to me. Whenever I've seen it trailered, I think I saw it trailered on Legend a few days ago, and I thought it looked all right. So it's one that I probably need to check out and see what I reckon to it, but I don't think it looks too bad. Let's see. Guy, you replied to that. I thought there was a couple of good points in the film. You sexist pig. Oh, Guy. We wouldn't have you any other way. Mark. Oh, God. Football. I'm not a fan. I don't follow it. I have nothing to do with it. So when people get all wound up and het up over a game, my first thing to say is it's just a game, and normally it's like throwing petrol on a fire. Mark, just a game, how dare you? I'm sorry, that's just how I see it. To me, it's just not me. I don't do football. I never have done. I don't really do sport. I used to watch a bit of motorsport years ago because my dad used to sit me in front of it, and I still remember him taking me to one or two of the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. This was in the 70s. This would have been 1976. But apart from that, I'm just not a sporting person. I'm just not. And the thought of actually sort of sitting down and watching sport, no. And the thing is, we've got all the sport channels on Sky. Is it Sky or Virgin? I can't remember. Got them all. Never watch them. Skip through them pretty much every night, and it's like there's nothing on there of any interest. So, sorry, Mark. I do apologise for the just a game remark, but it is. So, right. I think what I'm going to do very quickly. I'm coming up to 23 minutes. I'll take a quick break, and I'll be back before you can say. It's bleeding cold outside. Back in a sec. And we're back. Right, just a quick thing I wanted to mention. A lot of people drop comments, obviously, on the Facebook page and on YouTube. If, for any reason, I don't reply, please do forgive me. It is usually for one reason and one reason only. I'm basically saving the comments and the replies for the next video. I do try to reply to the ones on YouTube because obviously the whole world sees those. But the Facebook ones, I do tend to sort of save them for the next video. So if by any chance I don't reply, please don't think for a second that I either can't be asked or I'm not interested. It's nothing like that. It's just that I need as much to talk about on the videos as possible, and some of them have a lot of points on there that will keep me talking for a good 5 or 10 minutes. So as I say, please don't think that I'm not interested. That's absolutely not the case. It is simply that I'm saving it up to give me something to talk about on the next sort of videos. So I just wanted to get that one out of the way. Right, where were we? Guy, you put a post on about a steelbook of Battlestar Galactica. Now, when I saw that, I thought, oh, I've been meaning to get this for ages, so maybe this is the version to get. The only thing is, it's only 2 hours long, so I'm assuming it is a movie version. Basically, what they used to do in the 70s, they used to cobble together, I think I've said this before, 2 episodes of classic series and release them in the cinemas as a feature movie, and I'm assuming that that is what that is. If that had have been the actual series, I would have jumped on that and almost certainly grabbed a copy. But I have been looking at the playback, I think playback is the label, of the first series, and I think I can grab one of those for about £6 or £7, and I think I'm going to do it. I did watch part of the very first episode when it was reshown on, I think it was Legend or the Horror Channel, sort of early evening, and I really enjoyed it and thought I wouldn't mind watching more of this. But as with all of these satellite channels, if they put one on one night, they will put it on every night, and I can't keep up with it like that. That's why I like the stuff that they put on Talking Pictures TV. 1 episode a week, like it used to be, I can keep up with that. 5 episodes a week, or sometimes 6 or 7 if they do it at the weekends as well. It's just not possible to do it. So, yeah, I was interested in that steelbook, definitely. Just not as interested as I was when I realised it was only sort of 2 hours. So I'm guessing that's what it is. You could probably give me the answer to that one. You put here is a steelbook you should get. Yeah, if it had been the series, definitely I would have grabbed that. So Dave Oliver, I was watching your videos yesterday, the horror movie news. Now forgive me because I've forgotten the actress's name. Scream 7 is having some real problems at the moment. Real production problems. The lead actress, I can't remember her name, has been sacked from the production for certain remarks on social media about a certain conflict going on at the moment. And then, let's see, the following day, Jenny Ortega, I believe her name is, she walked out, I presume in sympathy for the lead actress, whose name I wish I'd written down now. So, let's see. I mean, I bet they wish they'd paid Neve Campbell what she wanted now, because that's a big story with Scream sort of a few months ago, is that she basically felt undervalued. And I agree with you, Dave. I would say to the studios exactly what you said. Just pay her what she's worth. You know what I mean? She's basically kept this whole franchise afloat, along with Courtney Cox and David Arquette for many years. So just pay her what she's worth and let her come back, and let's see what they do. I mean, they can't, as you say now, surely get a whole new cast of characters, because they've literally only just done that. But we'll have to see how it goes. But it certainly isn't looking good. And will fans sort of boycott it when it does come out? I don't know. Would I boycott it? I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. It depends how strongly I felt about it. But no, I probably wouldn't. I haven't seen a Scream film since, not this one set in New York, the last one. And I actually thought it wasn't bad. Not bad at all, for saying it was a reboot. I will take in Scream 6 at some point. I think it's 6. I lose track of these sequels nowadays. I will take a look at it, because it's set in New York, but they do reckon the killings are very brutal in it. So I will be taking a look at that, absolutely. We'll see how we go with that. And the trailer for It's a Wonderful Knife, it's nuts, isn't it? I would almost certainly be up for watching that one. And another one you mentioned, let's see, a few weeks ago, when you were talking about movies coming out in 2024, was one called Imaginary. If you've not already seen the trailer for that, have a look, Dave. I think you'll be impressed. It looks a cracking horror movie. I don't think I'll ever look at teddy bears the same again. Definitely not. But if you get the chance to have a look at the trailer for Imaginary, have a look. I think you'll like it. So thanks for that, Dave. Right, let's see. I'm going to work from... I've actually got some notes written, and I can't be asked to type all this lot in, so I'm going to work from these. Let me see now. Oh, Hunya Geek is showing. 80s horror. First of all, thanks for that lovely shout out, guys. I really, really do appreciate that. As you know, I'm a firm supporter of your channel. I do enjoy the episodes that you put out. So yes, thank you very much for that and for the shout out generally. Really, really appreciate that. Latest episode was 80s horror, a subject that is dear to my heart. You both picked 5 titles that you personally love, that fall within that genre. Let me see. Guy, I'll read yours out first. Your number one, well, I've got it down as number one, but the first one you mentioned was Christine, which was obviously the Stephen King adaptation of his book. I believe, is this the one he said he didn't like, or was it The Shining he said he didn't like? I can't remember. I love Christine. I've seen it quite a few times. Absolutely love it. Apparently, it's slated for a remake or a reboot or whatever you want to call it, probably next year or the year after. And as long as they don't muck it up, then yeah, go for it. Number 2, Chud. Never seen it, but I remember the video sleeve very well, and I've actually written it down on my watch list because I looked up the trailer and it looks great fun. So I'm going to be looking at that. And when you were talking about Chud, you were trying to remember what it actually stood for, and I actually remembered it before you did. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. I don't know why I remembered that because I've never seen the movie, but I did. Number 3 was Bad Taste, which was, I believe, Peter Jackson's first movie. This is another one that I've not seen. I believe it's all blood and gore. That's pretty much all it is. But it is one now that you've been talking about it with such passion that I would like to watch. One that I don't particularly want to see is Tetsuo the Iron Man. That was your next one. I've sort of read a rough synopsis and listened to what you said about it. Basically, it's a guy that finds metal growing out of him. It sounds awful. It sounds horrible. I'm not sure it's something that I could actually physically watch, but maybe. 5, The Entity, total classic. Total classic. Seen it a few times. Barbara Hershey, just superb. It was a bit like Poltergeist for adults. So yeah, I totally get that one. Callie, your choices. Number 1, The Howling, my favourite werewolf movie. There were 2, or was it 3, that came out. There was An American Werewolf in London, which was just superb. Total classic again. Never get bored of it. And there was another one. What was the other one? Can't remember. That's awful, isn't it? I should really make better notes than this. But The Howling just sort of edges as my favourite werewolf movie, basically because that is how I always imagined werewolves to look. Not proper wolves, but basically standing up on the 2 back legs. The final scene when they are pulling away from them in the car and you get the stop motion werewolves, chilling as hell. And D. Wallace Stone was superb in that. And Patrick McNee, John Steed from the Avengers, love The Howling. Basket Case, never seen it. I've got them. I've got all 3 of them, but I've never watched them. And by the same director, Frankenhooker. I looked up the trailer for this one after I listened to your episode. I definitely want to watch that one. Frankenhooker looks great. American Werewolf, of course I've seen it. Good God, I've seen it many times. What have I got here? I can't even read my own writing. I didn't know, let me get this right, that they created a new category in the Oscars for practical effects and stuff like that. And obviously Rick Baker won that Oscar for his effects. I didn't realise that. And you also mentioned that there is a possible remake in the pipeline to be directed by Max Landis, which is obviously John Landis' son, director of the original American Werewolf. If it's kept in the family and John Landis is some kind of consultant on it, I don't see any reason why it couldn't work. I mean, Ivan Reitman, is it Jason Reitman? Ivan Reitman's son directed Ghostbusters Afterlife. That turned out all right. So there's absolutely no reason why Max Landis couldn't give it a go. So yeah, I'd be up for that one. Um, Toxic Avenger, number 4. This is one that I keep meaning to watch. I have got it, but I've not watched it yet. Um, you mentioned that it was a cartoon, an animated series as well. How on earth do you make an animated series of something like the Toxic Avenger? And I believe RoboCop and Rambo were also cartoons. Were these adult cartoons, or were they aimed at kids? I dread to think. But the Toxic Avenger, I definitely wouldn't mind a look at, and I will be taking a look at that. And your number 1 was Return of the Living Dead. Yes, I have seen it. Long, long time ago. I just remember punks and rockers in a graveyard. That's pretty much all I can remember about it. So it is one that I need to revisit. I did watch Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and quite enjoyed it. I don't think you've got much time for that one. But I thought it was all right. Again, can't remember much about it, but I do remember thinking I wouldn't mind watching that again. So they were your choices. Let's see. Your honourable mentions. The Stand, I think, was one, which was an epic, sprawling epic of a series based on Stephen King's novel, which was, the book was something like that. It was massive. I think it was like 2,000 pages or something. It was huge. I never read it. I believe the audio book is something like 40, 50 hours long, something like that, possibly more. So it is something that I could probably get into sort of one chapter at a time. But the series, I never watched it, never saw it, so I'm not a clue about that one. Guy, you mentioned Gargoyles from the 90s. I didn't realise it was from the 90s. When you first mentioned Gargoyles, I thought, God, you're going back with that one. There was a movie called Gargoyles. It was a TV movie around about 1972. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, and it scared the hell out of me. And it was literally, I assume it's going to be the same story as this 90s remake, but I need to have a look at this 90s remake to see what they've done with it. And Callie, you mentioned Reanimator and Life Force, 2 total classics. If I was going to put together my personal sort of top 5 of 80s horror, I think both of those would have been in it had you not mentioned them. But what I'm now going to do is I'm going to get hold of my top 5 80s horrors, and I'll be talking about them on next week's video. I'll try to make it ones that I've actually got, so I can show you that I've actually got them when holding videos up and stuff like that. But if not, I need to have a look at 80s horror. I know one for sure, and a possible second. I just need to find 3, so I will do that in time for next week, so you can see what my personal favourites are. And the next one is going to be 80s sci-fi. Can't wait for that one. Really looking forward to that. So yeah, great episode, guys. Keep up the good work. What else have I got here? Oh, I've done that. Right, let's see, what have I got here? I put a post on about Cape Fear being turned into a TV series. Cape Fear has been a black and white movie starring Gregory Peck. It's been a Martin Scorsese movie starring, let's see, Nick Nolte and Robert De Niro. I've never seen it all the way through. I started watching it probably a couple of years ago, and I got as far as, and please tell me if I'm wrong on this, did he basically break a girl's arm, push it up her back and break it, and that was pretty much as far as I got. I can't stand any more of that. It was just, I don't know at what point in the film that happened, but I just remember thinking, this is intense, this is really intense. And I never got further than that. So if you tell me that I didn't see the girl having her arm broken, I may just give it another go. But apparently it's been turned into a TV series. Let's see, who's at the helm of it? I did write on here. Scorsese and Spielberg have got a hand in it, so it's got to be watchable. What do we think? Guy, you said could be cool as long as they don't fuck it up. This is pretty much the same as any sequel, reboot, whatever. I'm coming on to another one in a minute. That's pretty much the story with all of you don't mind them so long as they do a decent job and make it watchable. The Fog springs to mind. The remake of the John Carpenter movie from 1980. Again, stone cold classic, the original. The other one, just awful. I don't know whether it bore any resemblance at all to the book, or whatever, but no, it did nothing for me at all. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. I'll be following that one with interest. And I put a post on about a movie called The First Omen, and it is a prequel to the original 1976 Omen, which starred Gregory Peck and Lee Remick, and obviously David Warner and Patrick Troughton. Um, and again, so long as they don't mess it up, Jason Kay, they can't do any worse than Exorcist Believer. You didn't like that. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on The Exorcist Believer until I've actually watched it. But I believe that is going to go either on my Christmas list, or if it's released in the new year, I'll be grabbing a 4K of that just to have a look at it. I get the feeling I'm going to enjoy it, but I've got to put the original Exorcist to the back of my mind, because nothing could ever match that movie. It couldn't. So long as I completely forget about the original Exorcist, I should be okay with Exorcist Believer. But you obviously didn't think much of it. Lee Barber replied, "I'm sure they will." I basically put something on there about hope they don't fuck it up. And you said, "I'm sure they will." Zero faith. Zero faith in it. But let's see what the trailer's like. Let's see what it's like. Again, just put the original Omen or the whole trilogy to the back of your mind, because nothing will ever come close, especially the original Omen, to that. So it might stand a chance with it being a prequel. We'll see. We'll see how we go with that. Let's see. I think I've pretty much covered everything. I'll just give you a quick show of what I've been buying this week. I've had it's not much actually. New issue of Yours Retro, articles on Grace Kelly, Star Trek, Charles Bronson. I watched sort of 10 minutes of Death Wish 3 last night, and really enjoyed it, but I did actually fall asleep. I think it was on quite late, and I thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind watching the Death Wish movies, all of them, because I think the only ones I've seen are the first two. The first two I remember being absolutely vile. I think the first one was quite nasty as well, but I've not seen any of the others. So seeing that sort of the Death Wish 3, the sort of 5-10 minutes of it, it made me think, I actually wouldn't mind a look at that. So what else have we got here? Article on Life of Brian, Carry On movies win Fab Thunderbirds goodies. Yeah, the Blu-ray box set, which I've actually already got. So, and the other one is thanks to Gareth and his retro VHS videos, which I've really been enjoying, and I do need to talk about, but I've got to make some notes on them first. I saw this on one of the chart shows and thought, I haven't seen that for years. I would love to see that again. Went on Amazon, £8.99, bargain. Hollywood Wives. I remember watching this probably about 1983 when it first came out. It was in 3 parts over 3 nights, 90 minutes apiece. It was just brilliant. The all-star cast, you've got Angie Dickinson, you've got Anthony Hopkins, Rod Steiger. Who else is in this? There's the cast list is like a who's who of Hollywood. And guess what? It's not on here. No, none of it. But there are loads of stars in this. This was just glitzy nonsense, but really entertaining nonsense. Obviously based on a Jackie Collins novel. I loved this, absolutely loved it. It's got a storming theme tune by Laura Branigan, which I absolutely love. I mean, if you like your glitzy nonsense like Dallas, Dynasty, Falcon Crest, all that kind of thing, you will absolutely love Hollywood Wives. I can't wait to have another look at this. So that's the only thing I've pretty much bought this week. Right, I'm going to bring it to a close, guys. I've got a lot that I wanted to bring up that I've basically not had time this morning. I've got to be somewhere very shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a slightly longer one, or an extra long one, next week, and incorporate all the bits that I've been reading about, Obviously catch up on everybody's videos. I desperately want to catch up on those VHS chart shows of yours, Gareth. They look absolutely amazing. I've watched I think 2 so far, which is where the Hollywood Wives thing came from. And I've also got other videos that I need to catch up on, and some articles on the group that have appeared this week, which I can hopefully include on next week. So thanks ever so much for joining me. As per usual, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, share, all that sort of thing. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I'll be back with you again probably, I would say, the same time next week. This 6 a.m. thing seems to work really, really well, and you guys seem to like it, so I'm going to stick with it. So I'm going to cobble these 2 bits together, and then I'll schedule this to drop pretty much when you're watching it now, actually. So thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. Take care, and I will talk to you all again next week. Take care. Ta-da.